Okay, so welcome all. And today I will review what we learned, and then quickly, then after that I will go the missing parts. Okay, so we learned about project, right, where you define your models, your the profile where you are connecting, and then then project will have seeds minimum. Uh, Sorry, actually, you don't need a seeds. If you're not loading any data, you don't need a seeds. But of course, models are required where that's where you're defining your transformations, and then you will have you define sources, you define schemas. Source means which table is coming from which database or schema, and then schema is you define data types, column names, documentation. But the I also discussed keep documentation in one separate file. That way, then you will someone manages the entire company documentation. Then you just refer it. That way, it helps you. Where is the documentation? I think we put March documentation. Pivot, staging. Yeah, like this, right? So staging, you can have multiple .md files. So and Thursday I presented to a client. So initial plan is they will create a small dbt project. They're going to document all the table names, all the table information, column names, and then expected values, and then all any other conditions, whatever. So they're going to write the whole the entire data dictionary in multiple files. And then wherever I want to, then I'm just going to refer the just if you like this document. So this way there is one place to go to your entire company data dictionary through DBT. So today they put everything in Confluence, right? Some Excel. So we decided to create a very tiny project, and then every project they will import it. I will walk through that one. So you create a tiny project with just .md, and then nothing more than that. Maybe you create some staging area or common objects, put it that way. Let's say this staging is common for every project, or some macros common for every project. Then then for example, if you look at here, I have some common macros: create database, create schema, create roles, then create pivot tables and all that stuff. So anything you think of common, create a DBT common for your company. Then folks can import it. But differently, what I say is, and what we will be working on another client, we will be creating a document. So then even every column name, every table name, you can write the whole paragraphs. Then you can see that documentation in the DBT document. We will do one more time again. So think that way. Then you can reuse your code. That's what I will show it again. Macros, right? Let's say you want to do for loops, you want to do pivoting, you want to do database creation, schema creation, or alters, and then any for loop logic, for example, you can do in Jinja code. Now they introduced Python, but I'm not planning on presenting any Python because it's very new, still in infant state. It may take another release. The Python will be standardized, but you don't have to use Python. But stay on with the SQL for now. That is the popularity of the DBT. So if it is another coding, why we want to go back to DBT? We can do other ways, right? So that's the project. Basically, define the project. Let me open again. So in the project, you define your project name and then models, and then you have models like staging, facts, smarts, and then anything you want to define. Okay, all my example directory, go to view. I want only views, so I don't want to create tables. Anything coming from math model, right? Models, right? then create as a tables, and staging created as tables, and which schema you want to. Then do you want to test coverage, and then anything you want to define on model level. More, so keep this the DBT project as simple as possible. Don't write too big. But define your how you want to define your models and snapshots. Then any variables you want to define, you can do that. Then the directory structure. That's it. Well, keep it the project structure that way. You can, if it is too big, create multiple projects. Okay, that's what I'm recommending. Then so that's what about the project. So then particularly when you are working in a multi-user, what I suggest is create a small projects initially. Let's say everybody has their own project. Okay, project one, project DBT underscore project one, project two, project, or some name. Project one is a bad name in here. Then think through that you can import, or maybe later you can combine. That's not a problem, right? You just share it in R drive and combine and make create a one project. So general tendency, what I say is, talking to DBT guys, initially they're creating one big project, then later they're splitting into small. Or I seen they told us also small mini multiple small project, then they're combining if they think of their one project is enough. But documentation, what I am doing in another client is we are creating a one small DBT documentation. Then we'll see, and maybe later I will present how we did it. So you create a project, then you don't have to use DBT in it and all that stuff. You just copy existing project and then recreate it. So that's one thing. Then validate using the DBT debug. You validate it. So you validate. So DBT debug is your connection validation, right? Whether you want to connect to Snowflake or Iceberg, the Dreamio Iceberg, or now Dreamio also introduced now, and there are Databricks. So one of the tests we are planning in my client. Right now, the DBT project connecting to Snowflake, but we want to use the same DBT project flip over to Databricks. So that is one of the tests we will, once we complete the entire project, at least smaller portion, because we use both. We use Databricks and DBT. So that's what the plan is. Question?
Will that same work for DPT other than the connection string? Do we need to change anything which is
Yeah.
used for this?
No, yeah, no. So in your profile, you have a DBT profile connecting to Snowflake. You have a DBT profile connecting to Databricks. You have to have two profiles in our profile.aml file. Now project, right? For example, let me explain that one. Okay. So here, my project is connecting to DBT. Let's say I'm going to call as this is DBT Ambari Snowflake. Okay, Snowflake. Now you complete your testing and you are connecting to Snowflake. Okay, where do you define in our dot profile? So cd dot, okay, Ambari. I'm going to call as this one. What is that? SF, right? Okay, so here Ambari SF, then this is my profile name. I'm going to use that profile name in my project, which is my project name is Ambari test, right? Then I connect to Snowflake, I will complete it. Then here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create for example, this is DBT Dreamio, right? DBT Dreamio. Now, if I change this name, I take this name, then I put it here, and then if I execute it, then the same project should connect to DBT Dreamio. Sorry, Dreamio. Right now, if I create, I don't have the Snowflake Databricks yet. I will add. I will send that one in. If I add Databricks connection string, these are like constants. Look at this one. This is Snowflake connection string, right? And this is Dreamio connection string. This is how you Dreamio cloud and my project ID, my token ID, and all that. That's how you connect.
So the profile holds every connections.
Profile holds every connection. Profile holds your the dev database connection. Profile holds your QA database connection. Profile holds your production database connection, and profile holds different um, providers connection. For example, so whatever you are connecting, you have to have it. Otherwise, how the DBT connect to your database? You have to
Yeah,
tell it, right?
got it. I mean the different target sources
Yes,
like
yeah.
a Snowflake, like a Databricks, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, you have to provide your credentials to the DBT.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Got.
So
Thanks.
the simple example here, right? I mean, I have Dremio, I have Snowflake, right? Now, if I take this guy and then I change it to here, now if I execute this same project, will connect to Dremio. Yeah. So that's what one of the tests. 99% will work because the data types, and we are not using any crazy data types anyhow. Um, Same tables we create in Snowflake, we will create in Databricks, and then maybe in Dremio and all that stuff. Okay, so that's, yeah, profiles you have to maintain, and then you test it. Then, for example, you test on default profile or test on a particular profile. If you don't define any profile name, then it automatically goes to the default profile, which is dev here, right? Now I can add within the Ambari SF, I can add a dev profile, I can add a prod profile, I can add a QA profile. Then if you want to connect QA, then you need to specify which profile you are connecting to. So while you are there as a developer or a tester, you're always connecting to dev and test it. But let's say your QA has different profile, then you will always use profile, then Ambari, DBT, QA. Then in production, then we're going to use dash dash profile, production, Ambari, DB, production, like that. Then in production, when you execute, right, when you put in Airflow or some shell script or whichever, yeah, you will be executing like this. That's how it is. Okay. So once you debug, then you run you deploy your code, right? That means you execute your SQLs. How do you execute your SQLs? We use dbt run, right? And then when you run the dbt run, then it is also go through default profile. But here now we are explicitly saying, okay, the which target we are running. So you can have multiple profiles. Let's say if you look at here, okay, I have only one file, right? But I can have profile one, profile two, let's say profile Snowflake. I will keep all my Snowflakes in one profile, and profile underscore Databricks. So you can define, you can tell which profile and which target also. You can even define target and within a profile. So you can have n number of one profile for Snowflake. You don't want to put all the profiles in one file. Maybe you can separate. Let's say you're using DBT, Snowflake, and SQL Server. Then you can create them as a separate files, profile files, and you can execute that way. Okay. So right now we are using only one file. Don't want to. I didn't touch on this one because in Snowflake, what we did is we connected everything through account admin, but nobody will give you account admin. They will create a role, the for example, DBT user, DBT role or something. Then they will give you access. You should have a create schema and create database if needed, right? And then all other permissions based on your target, which is Snowflake will have different way of doing some roles, or similarly, Databricks will have different RBAC, and then Dremio has different. So you need to that part, but this is nothing to do with DBT, by the way. This is on your database side. Me from the profile, who is me here? Okay, let me open it. Right. So who is me? This is a role I'm connecting. Now, in your actual projects, you will not have account admin role. You will have this role, right? You're going to use a transform role. right? Then user, right? The user, this is my user ID, but I may be using DBT user role. So this is your DBA or your Snowflake guy first will create for a DBT project. Those are the values we will use. So here in my account, I have user ID as Kunpa, then I'm using account admin, but I might be a different role. Or in your multi-user project, let's say in your desktop, you will have your user ID, right? And then my desktop, let's say you all working on the same company. Then my desktop, I have my user ID. Your desktop, you have your user ID, but we all have same role. That way, then but otherwise, what happens is we all have one user ID. Um, in the production, there will be only one user ID, right? But in the development, everyone has their own user ID, and maybe your DBA will give access to one scheme, only one schema, right? Then I may be, for example, here back schema, and you are allowed to do in back schema. I may be doing in some other sales schema, something or sales database, whichever, right? So that's depends on how you are doing the project, but that again within the database, but you just change in your profile. Okay, that's important. Again, these are because we are thinking some of the practicality requirements, right? Yeah. So if you look at here in this example, I have now I have a dev profile, then I have a prod profile. One profile. Look at this one profile, many DBs. Okay. So then if you look at here, I'm connecting. Then the now you look at it, Ambari DB training profile, but prod. This means this is connecting to this profile because production has different password, different user ID, different schema names, maybe, right? So that's all. Now, if you run just DBT run, it will connect to development database. But if you run, hey, now look at this one in the same profile file, I may have Ambari DBT training, then Dreamio, and XYZ, blah, 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 different profiles. Then you need to give the profile name, you need to provide the target name. But if you give the profile name without target name, it goes to dev. But if you give the profile name and the target name, for example, prod, it goes to prod. So that's a look at this. And that's why we put a default. Always put a default. If you don't put this default, then of course you always have to give target prod. That's a good practice too. Okay, questions here. This is important because generally, when you read the blogs, they don't talk about all these things. But when you start working on it, yeah, hey, how I'm now, you may say, no, my production, I will change the profile name and QA. No, don't do that, right? One profile, because this profile you're going to put it into Git, many DBs. That's think that way, practice that. So this is how you're gonna do it. Okay.
Sorry,
Go
I have
ahead.
a question. So if we have a multiple profiles, okay, maybe we are having a different. If you want to manage the multiple profiles, is there a way that we can do that? Like,
Yes, here. Okay. Profile 1, profile 2. Right? Same file, right? This is a now look at this one. This is one profile, many DBs, one profile, many DBs, right?
yeah. So in what use case we'll do this? Like, so which use case we need to maintain multiple profiles?
There is another DBT project, right? This is one DBT project, right? This is another DBT project, right? Companies will have Snowflake, companies will have Dreamio. Let's say, for example, Dreamio. Then you have to maintain separate profile, right? You cannot put it in. Generally, don't. For example, look at this one. This is a Ambari DBT profile. This is connecting to Snowflake. Now, don't put this one is Dreamio, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. That
Yeah.
will be different profile, right?
Yeah. So now if you look at this is think about this is Snowflake and Snowflake project, Snowflake team. Then you have a dev. Then you can have production. So you don't have to change in your project, right? You don't have to change in our project. Same project from dev to QA to prod. They're moving on, right? But because every time when you move from dev to QA to prod, you don't want to touch the code, right? So you're not changing the profile name for this project. Now there is another project in our company. They're doing Dreamio, right? And then which is a sales project. Then they're going to use this profile.
Okay, it's most on the project, not on the product. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So it's most on connection, right? Just think about that way, right? You don't want to put dev is Snowflake, QA is Dreamio, then prod is SQL Server. No, right? So this is this is one project for profile for dev, QA, prod, and then I have another profile dev, QA, prod in Dreamio. There's another profile dev, QA, prod for SQL Server or BigQuery, that way. So yeah, so that's the reason I intentionally put because I myself confused when we are working on the project, right? Then I want to be very clear. This is common confusion when we are working with the other folks and the client, right? So one profile, many DBs, then you have to be working like this. Then of course you have many profiles. Then look at the sales. Then within the sales you have so this is the best practice, but at the end, right? DBT run, and see when we are practicing, we have only one profile. We practice it, but you have to think in the production model, right? So DBT run dash which profile, and within the profile which target. So you practice that way, right? Then you can articulate it. Otherwise, what happens is, I learned DBT, and then suppose they ask you an interview question. Okay, by the way, I asked them question too. How do you manage multi profiles and multi DBs within a profile? If you're not able to articulate, it's a stop signal. Okay, so particularly 27, 28. Read again one. I will send you these slides in here. Think through, read again. Okay. Questions? Okay, good. Okay. So again, profiles, then you check it and then verify it and all the stuff. Okay, we talked about models. Models is nothing but a SQL file, and you write your SQLs, and then you execute it, and then all the stuff. Now, very quickly, SQL Fluff. If you look at here, this is another Python module. I want you to read it. So if you look at here, I ran the SQL Fluff, right? Then it does nice formatting, right? All the code. So if all the code looks exactly similar, not here in this one actually. I was running on another project, so it will run all the code in a proper formatting. Okay, so it does maintain a cleaner format. Then every code looks similar. So everybody in our company writing exactly similar code. Use it. So SQL Fluff, not only for DBT, it works for any SQL file. So if you are working on in any other projects, think through about SQL Fluff, which is formats your SQL file. Nothing to do with DBT, by the way. You can do that. So models, we talked about seeds. Let's say one of the questions on Thursday, I have an Excel file, I have a lot of data, then how do you load it? Excel is CSV file. So what you do is you create a seeds and then create some table name, whatever the Excel file, then put your column names, and then copy your Excel here. Then you Excel again, it is another directory file, right? Then execute the seed, then automatically your table is created with the data. But while you are creating a seed file or table, but if you don't define data types, then automatically it all strings. So you define the schema your seed file. You properties, right? I created underscore properties, I have a seed, right? Then I define the column names and data types and documentation and all the stuff. So this is useful. And also you can then add tests saying that, hey, while I'm loading into this events table and I want to make sure the user ID is unique and all the stuff, and even you don't know it's a CSV file, right? Right. So you can add that one in your sheets. So DBT, every time when you build a product, think about tests, right? That is the purpose of me. One of the major reason folks are opting for DBT is test cases. Let's say your ETL team loaded the data. ETL team said, okay, we publish the data. After 2 days, you want to run a test on your customer table, right? After 2 days, you want to run on some test cases in your, how do you do that today? Anyone? How you guys run test cases in your data?
I don't eat or drink. My favorite snacks are facts.
Oh, okay. Siri. Question, how do you run your test cases today? Anyone? Anybody, right? What we do is log into database, we run select star from this table, group by, order by, and then count greater than 0 when is null, not null. We run manual things, right? Now, today you can just run it, right? And with DBT. So while you are building your models, you run DBT test on events, DBT test on sorry guys. Yeah, I lost the connection. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And going here. So seeds, right? The then models, right? You know, when you are working on Databricks, the common word you see is stage, raw, bronze, you know, Snowflake guys use raw stage, Databricks guys use bronze, and then silver and gold. They're all same at the end. You know how to organize your tables. So stage tables are basically, you know, you want, what are the stage tables, right? Let Kafka writing into your Snowflake or your Kafka writing into Databricks, right? Or somebody loading the data, and then you want to convert some column names and data types, right? And those things you built in your staging tables, right? So where are we here? um, right? So you change the column names right here, and or you want to parse a column name, or you want to change the data type of a column. Those things you can do in staging area, right? If there is no transformation, yeah, you don't have to do anything in stage. But mostly staging is any base table, stage table transformation, right? That's what the staging area is. And then you create a staging tables. From there, then everybody refers. So this is my source table. In the source table, which is original table created by one team, I can't change it because Kafka writing into this table in this schema, right? But then I can't control Kafka team what they're writing it. or I can't control whatever API guys are writing it. So I'm going to the same thing. So we have a API team. They write into the Snowflake directly into the staging table, right? What we do is in the nightly. So again, we are in the project discussion, one of those table. We need to run this staging. Then what it does is it creates reads the data from this table, and then we do column transformations and then data type transformations. Then we will write into the final table. That's what we do. So again, if there is a need for conversion, then you use the staging area. Otherwise, source table. If your source table is fine, then you use the customer table. Then you build a type 2, or you use the customer table writing into your fact table or whatever you are doing. Okay, or joining with the fact table or dimension tables. Okay. Okay, stage. And then so while you're defining the staging, right, look at this one here. This is my stage, right? But where is this stage table is coming from, right? It's coming from order table. So like, for example, stage customer, it is coming from the customer table, customers table from one database. Let's go to that one. Let me explain that one. Okay. Here. So I have a staging. Now I have a file called sources. Okay. Now, if you look at here in my what is my source to build my customer model? Okay, look at this one. I have a table called customer somewhere, right? And I want to convert the column names, right? That is my staging. Now, look at this one, source. What it does is, well, go to this schema, right? And then the schema has some documentation for this table. Use this table and build my staging table. So this is my source table, and this is my staging table. I don't have any control on this table, any control on this schema, but I'm going to read this table because they are writing into this table here. I'm going to read it and build my own customer table in my own schema. Okay, so because this is my requirements, because I cannot use this table, raw table as it is. Now, where is this table, right? So then you define the table location. Okay, look at this one. It's a TPCH. Some you can call as Bob, doesn't matter, right? But right now I'll keep it. Then look at here, the name, source is name, generic name, right? I'm going to close this guy. I'm going to close. Okay, so some name. Now it is coming from this database. It is coming from this schema. Then I have from this schema, I have order table. I have the customer table, right? I have all these tables. Now I have a documentation, right? Then somebody is loading for me. This is okay. I want to spend a little bit time. Somebody loading orders table. Okay, I don't have any control. Right? The schema, I have access to this database. I have access to this schema. I have access to this table, but is read only. Now, I want to know, right? When was the database been loaded on the table? I want to know the freshness. Today, the BI team or somebody, is ETL load completed? Can we run the reports? That's the email. They will run an email blast. Okay, can you please let us know? Now you don't have to ask for them. You can just run or you want to run, right? You want to run your transformations, but you don't want to ask them. You don't have to ask them. You don't want to. You don't have to ask them. Is my orders table is being loaded up? So you can add a freshness. Okay. And then you can add error warrants and errors and all that stuff. Hey, has been loaded within 6 hours. Oh no, it's not. Then it's a warning statement. Then if it's not loaded in 12 hours, it's an error statement. Based on then, if it is error, then it won't execute your DBT. So you can run on this one. Then you don't have any control on this one, but your requirement is the values in this column should be unique and not null. Remember, you don't own this table. somebody owns it. But in your DBT project, you are telling yourself, I want to make sure these values, whoever loading this table should follow these standards. Right? Now I'm also telling that, hey, this customer key, right, in order table should have a relation with foreign key relation. That means if the customer don't have a customer Bob, and then if they have a customer ID Bob in this table, order table is banned. So that means you are doing a source check. So that is one of the advantage of you follow this source check in your staging. So you want to build your orders, for example, here, you don't want to build orders until, right, my order schema is validated. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
If we give those conditions like a unique and not null, what if the source is having the duplicates or null values?
Yeah, then your DBT transformation will fail. It will error out for you. It won't run.
Okay.
Right? It will show error. That means that particular transformation will not run.
Okay. You mean for the whole table or only for that particular transaction?
Then it will the particular transformation, again, not the whole table, right?
Okay.
Table is, you don't have a control on the table, I'm telling, right?
Yes.
They load it already. They don't care where somebody loading it, and then let's say API call ran twice, right?
Yeah.
There is no primary keys in the Snowflake. There is no primary keys in the Databricks, right? They ran twice. Then they created a duplicate. Now your job is, hey, I'm going to read the order table, and then I'm going to create my own order table view, and view or table, while I'm creating it, right? Then I want to make sure I don't have any duplicates. I also want to make sure I have a customer in my order table should exist in the customer table. Because think about order table, maybe one day table. Every time they delete and refresh, right? Think about in this staging area, you think about all is fresh.
Okay.
But they give you duplicates because they may run twice. But your job is, I'm going to do a transformation because I'm going to extract my staging. I'm going to put in my fact orders, a fact inventory or whatever. By that time, I want to make sure I don't have a duplicate. Now, if there is a duplicate, you don't know what to do. Your transformation stops. Then whoever loading the order table or customer table, they have to fix it.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hi Satya. So this kind of things only apply when there are no constraints on the table that is already created. Generally, any table we create, any table, like any database table, it's already with some kind of constraints, primary key, index, all those things, right?
That's, I mean, you're right. Particularly, let's say, on a non-distributed environments, yes. Oracle, SQL Server, Postgres, and right. But we are talking about distributed environments, which is Snowflake, Databricks, Dremio, BigQuery, and TreeNews, and Iceberg, all these things. There is no primary key, foreign key constraints. They have a constraints they're introducing, null, not null, check values, but primary key, foreign key relations in a distributed environment is very
It's not there.
It's
Okay.
not.
Okay. So only unique and these kind of tests, or any other thing that I can like.
Right now,
check the format of the-
last week or 2 weeks back, Databricks introduced a check constraint, right? But the generally in the staging area, we don't enforce these constraints because your load has to be
very
faster,
faster. Yeah.
right? We don't
Mhm.
enforce these constraints in particular. Let's say you're writing through Kafka and then writing into order table, and then you write in the customer. Then you want to have foreign key with the customer. Your Kafka process will throttle, right?
Yeah.
So good question.
Okay.
Yeah, this is good, right? So,
Yeah. And
that's
one more thing.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so does it stop the process completely or does it ignore
No,
the
it,
error and then move on?
no, the DBT will continue other transformations, but your order transformation will stop.
But if I don't want it to stop, but I just want that record to be ignored and proceed with the entire load, and then I will deal with the
At the
errored out records.
then remove the your that is not there yet. Okay,
Okay.
on error ignore that procedure.
Okay, that level of, okay, yeah, just want to know, like, because, yeah, because the source data may be coming with so many flaws, but when I'm trying to filter out, I cannot stop every time in
Yeah,
between.
right. So this is where the lot of folks, they like it. Okay, let's clean it up on the source itself, then or staging area, then run the transformation. So yeah, we see these problems, right? But that's the reason we want to stop those. And then how do you do that? Yeah, but it's not like oh, ignore this error. Yeah, that's not that level of.
Okay,
These are my rules. Follow the rules. That's it.
okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
so this is um the reason I'm emphasizing on the source. When I'm learning initially, when okay, we all start small projects, then when you start deep diving it, okay, I want also my lineage document nicely. Okay, now if I don't define the source, and then if I hard code in my, I can hard code here, right? The Ambari dot things, right? Then I'm not providing my total lineage. Okay, where is my source? My staging source table for my staging. I want to build a nice lineage this way. Tomorrow, for example, let's say they want to move order table into different schema, right? You come here, you change the schema, right?
Okay.
Uh, and so it's more modular way. Then you will have one place to say, okay, whatever the constraints I applied on the order table, and then this will not change. But if the DBS decided to move this order table into different database, different scheme, you come and change this one. You don't have to even come and change. Then you can even put in your DBT project level. So you can even modelize it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead, Sri.
yeah. So, okay.
Well, go ahead, Sri.
Yeah, I have one more. So, how can we control a source environment? Generally, the source will have some kind of upstream or they
But
will have their own format.
yeah, they have their own, right? Say
Yeah,
API
so
team.
why can't we just take everything on our end without any constraints and then delete whatever the data that we feel like unnecessary? I mean,
Right, but you are not source. You are not a API team, right? You are in the database side transformation team, or let's say you are buying data from Axiom or Sears
and
or Facebook, right? And you are not the source. They are giving whatever they are
they
giving.
have.
Yeah, right. And then you're loading it, right? You loading means either you loading seed PPR or some ETL team loading for you, and you are not part of ETL team, right?
Okay.
So yeah, you don't have any. So our assumption is I don't have any control on my raw table, which is my branch location, which is my customer order table. Somebody writing for me, and then my job is from there. Okay. After they write into that customer table, my job starts. My
Okay.
job
Yeah.
is our DBT job. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you, Sati.
Srikanth, go ahead.
Will that data will be copied to the staging area, or just we are referring to the source?
It depends on how do you want to do it, right? Yeah, this is good point, right? Let's look at my model, right? In the model, right, I created I'm referring my source who somebody wrote it, right? Then I'm doing my transformation. Now my model called stage TPCH customers. Now, is a table? Is it a view? Or yeah, what kind of table it is, right? You define that one. Where do you define? Let's go to your project. Okay, so now look at here in the staging. right? So I said any models in my staging, right? I want to write into the staging schema. Okay, look at your DBT connected to Snowflake. First time through your profile. But once you connect into the Snowflake, you can tell DBT, hey, write all my staging tables in staging schema. So anything in the staging models, right? They go to staging schema. Now, while going to staging schema, you can create it as them as a tables, or I can change to views. Right now, all my okay, how many you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 8 tables they will create as a views in this staging, or I can now let's say in general we made everything all the staging tables as a view, but I can come to this here, then I can overwrite it, right? Saying that config, I can overwrite. Okay, do you have that one? Yeah, like this. Okay, let's go back here, and yeah. Now look at this one. On my project, I told all my staging tables are views. However, this is because my table processing takes more time because of the view or whatever reason, right? You can overwrite it. Depends on your requirement, right? On the global level, on the project level, we mentioned that. I'm gonna close this guy. Okay. So this is good question, right? On the project level, right? I define all models in my staging directory as a view, but I'm overwriting it as it's called materialization, or vice versa. In the global level, all are table, but you can overwrite it. Got it?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
One more question, sir. So we apply like a constraint there, right? So will it be applied, I mean, at the time of transformation or at the time of loading to from source to stage?
In the loading, I have no control. Okay, coming back here, source, right? The order table, right? When I'm executing this select statement, right? At the end, what is this? This is nothing but running. I connect to this database, this schema, and querying on this table, right? So I'm assuming this table already has been loaded and with proper requirements which we define in our source. That means in order table, right? I'm expecting order key, right? Then this null, not null, and expecting customer key already where expecting they have a customers which are already there in the customer table. That means they load the customer table first, right? And then so first load the customer, first load order, then they'll take care of it. I have no control. So the source tables, right? Your Kafka writing or API team writing or Ab Initio or ETL team writing, you don't have any control. But once they wrote in the table, before you do transformation, right? Or sorry, while you are doing the transformation, you won't have these requirements. So again, keep in mind, DBT is not an extract tool. DBT is not an extract tool. DBT is not a load tool. DBT is a transformation tool. You transform and load, of course. Make sense?
Yes, understood.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank
good. So sources, define your sources. That way, then you have one place to go and one place to validate and all that stuff. And then you document it, right? So document because you see everything in one place, right? Then try to do your validations in one place. Then once you do all the validations at this source level, right? Then you don't have to do any other validations further, because you already done validation on the order table, already done on the customer table. So when you load this data in the fact table, there is no need of a validation. However, right, let's say out of the blue, because we are at distributed, some reason, some load happened, then they have a null values for your customer key, null values in your inventory. How do you do validation on your fact table, right? When you do, let's say, hey, your manager walks in, can you do validation on the fact table? So what we do today, we run select count star your customer ID from fact table, group by customer ID, where customer ID is not null or null. Then you get the counts of null values of that. That's how we do manual. But let's give it that job to DBT. So in your fact table design, right, you put your constraint, then run DBT fact, DBT test fact table. That's it. It will run your validation. So even though you do validation while you are loading into your fact table, but have validations in our fact table also, that then you can run nightly or weekly validations on your fact table, your dimension tables, or your, let me rephrase that, your end tables. Okay. See, for example, let's say here I have a let's take this table, the dim parts. Okay. Somebody loaded in this table. I'm assuming I'm loading this one from my staging parts table. But what if somebody loads this table indirectly? Some process created, some other project started, and someone tried loading into this table directly. Okay, then you need to add validations on that too. I didn't add that one yet. Right? You can add your schema validation. Okay, like this. Look at this one, right? This is my model, right? So this my model is okay. Look at this one model, right? I'm telling my model, okay, how this model is being created. Okay, like this somehow, okay, whichever way, right? This model is being created, whatever the select statement from your staging area. I have created a table, but when I create this table, right, while it is creating the table, again, it checks all the validation. But what if somebody loads directly into this table? Again, because I don't have foreign key, primary key constraints on my table DDL, right? But I want to, tomorrow I wake up and I want to run validation on this table. So DBT test my table, immediately it will check this constraint. So it's nice to have even your final target table also. So now look at this one, my validation on the models. Here, look at this one. Here, right? It's my sources, right? What are my sources and what are my validation on the sources here, right? And here, not the sources, this one. Yeah, models. Look at this one. Marts, sources. You can have any name, doesn't matter. Models. This way I will know, hey, these are the validations or documentation about my models. You can call underscore Satya, underscore Bob Jones, and whatever name it is. But here in this directory, right now, this file can be anywhere, no matter, but DBT will know it. So DBT, when I do tests on this table, it goes to this file or does a validation. So this is a model level validation, and here this is our source level validations, right? And then here I have a sources. Then also look at the models. Okay, look at this one. This is my source. Then I told my order table has null, not null. Now let's go to the models, right? In the model, right, I created this staging line item model, but then I also added test order item ID. Look at this one. I did validation order item ID on my source table, right? I also doing validation on my model. So you can add this. So if you just change this one to source and models, you can play around that. So your staging table, you have a source, which is you call source, then you have validations. You do transformation and you create a table called stage TPCH customer, right? Look at the customers, items, line item, right? Then while I'm loading in this, I also added one more validation because I want to make sure no one is inserting into this table directly. Okay, why would people insert into line item directly? I will tell you in 2000, some of you guys may be knowing Enron, right? So companies used to load some fake data in these order tables and line item tables to create a fake revenue, right? And that happened in some companies. They create fake revenues by inserting into fake line items. Okay, and then what if somebody your line item has million rows, but in average, your average, let's say you are in Amazon, right? If somebody buys $1 million values, right? Then right, they want to have a flag saying that why somebody's do they have that money in the credit card, nowadays they do credit card search before, but what if they added a million item and they bought million, remember in COVID time some folks bought thousands of sanitization, then they created a black market. They won't have test on it. Okay, anybody buying more than 500 something, you can add those in your models. Yeah, I've seen one example somewhere. They added, they make sure that the inventory is not going negative, or inventory or amount is not going negative, or number of values buying more than that. That's I've seen examples. Okay, so those it so on the staging, right? So let's say API call takes your order, lights into your staging table. Okay, I want 1 million sanitizers, right? But when you do transformation, right? Oh, somebody is buying million order. The API call doesn't care. Okay, they got 1 million order right into your staging table. Writing into staging table, you don't have any constant. But while you are doing a transformation, you can add that constraint saying that this value in the value in a particular table should not be more than this, or maybe this is an average, or maybe this is a range. You can tell that. Question? Yeah, Pavan, ready to go.
Yeah, Satya, I have one question here. While building data pipelines or transformation data pipelines, how to differentiate between some source test and model test before and after DBT run?
So okay. Let me understand your ETL team loaded the data. That is, then they're gone. They're end of the day, they're done. Okay, we ran the ETL, we moved on, right? Number one. Now what you do is you run your staging transformation validations first. Okay, so DBT test dash staging. Then what it does is, okay, you're not going to run the entire end-to-end project in one single shot, right? You run the staging transformation. So let's go here. So what we do is we will run only DBT, right? And simply like this DBT test, okay, dash select staging, and that's how we're going to run it. Okay, so what it does is, right, and then let's say you want to just only validate your stagings, right? You run it, then you okay, hey, failed. Then you can send this information to Slack or email. Then, oh, hey, staging failed. Then they will fix it.
Okay.
And then if there is no errors, then yeah, then you run again one more staging once you fix it. Then after that you run DBT run, right? Then you do run, right? Then again select staging. Okay, you can do that. And or if you run select staging, it also runs the testing. You can do that. You can. There are multiple ways in the pipeline.
Okay.
Okay, and again, it changes use case by use case, right? So you run only on staging tests, you run, or you just run everything, right? Then it will give you the entire end-to-end, whatever been transformable, it will transforms, whatever you're able to create, creates, whatever failed, whatever freshness failed, then you will send it to Slack. Okay. So Slack.
Yeah, in production pipeline, after DBT run, there is no use of if the source test is failed, no, there is no use of, right? So
Because the transformations will not be running, right?
yeah, before run it is okay. After the DBT run, is there any updates from the raw data? So
Again, yeah, if you update, okay, updates, there are, remove the your universe, right? Your universe, somebody loaded uh, from load to transformation to end table, that is your universe, right? That's it. But now, while you are running DBT, if updating, loading, then your universe is changed,
okay,
right? Your domain loaded, they will send an email, where load is done, then your job starts.
okay.
That's
There
it.
is no time overlap.
Yeah. I mean, if there is a overlap requirement, that is a different design. That is a continuous load process. DBT is not meant for that, right? Let's say Kafka keep running, then that value need to be available to the end user continuously. That's a different design. But your ETL load, batch load, you do the transformation. But if you are doing a streaming requirement, that's a different design we have to think through.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good. So look at here, right? I integrated my DBT with the Slack. Now, if anything failed, then look at this one: Ambari stage, init order, join, then error and unique. Right? It goes to the Slack. You can send it to Slack or emails. You can integrate your DBT with the Slack or whatever. They're adding more features anyhow. So then you will know that my tests are failed. Right? DBT test alert, DBT test alert. Okay. Got it? So that's how the sources to define your, where your staging tables are. So this way, when you adding the source, then instead of hard coding, if the source tables are moved into different schema, then you don't have to change the model. And then also when see the lineage document, then you can see how the fails tables are coming from 1 to 1. Okay, so my stage order is coming from orders table. Oh, okay, so that means there's a transformation happened. Then my payments. Now then my fact orders joining up these two. Then my dim customer, right? Then my fact orders also using dim customer. So you can go through, you can understand how the SQL Server transformation has been built. Okay, so we talked about sources. Then sources basically generally you, again, remember, if you look at here, right, I can use if you just replace the sources with the model, which works, right? I want to check my freshness. I want to check my uniqueness and everything, not only on the source table, you can also on the model, the final table, right? But the source is, this is the original table, right? Raw sales is the original table. So there is no transformation on it. That's why we call as the sources. Okay. So let me reiterate one more, that again in this is the commonly we get confused, right? Look at my sources. This is my order, is my original table. That's why we call sources, right? Now, stage customer, right, is a transformation model. It's not an original table. It's a transformed model converted into table. Then we provide model definition, model information. So source is the original table and model is a transformed table. While you're doing the transform, you are doing the validations, also sources, right? While you are running your transformation, you are checking the validation, not while loading. Okay, load is done. So you have to think that original table source, any transform table model. So any SQL you write on the original table called model. So that just think that way. That's easy. Then you. So now you have a test on while reading the table source. You have a test on while transforming the table. So you're reading, then while you do the transform, or this table. Not only that, right? After some time, right, if somebody loading into the table manually through some API call, then you can run your test cases. This is for just your security, safety. Or you say, hey, I'm already reading this line item from source table. I'm already validating my line item ID. Why we need to do that? You don't have to. I don't need to this one. But in the future, right, I just want to check directly on this table. I want to validate, then I'm going to add it. So if you remove it, nothing happened. It's fine. But as time progresses, you want to have some validations on your final table. Yeah, then you can do test cases. Okay. So test case, I'm reiterating more on the test here today is because this is the beauty of the DBT. That's where a lot of people are looking at it. Okay, I can run test case after 1 month on this table. Okay, just run test case, make sure that nobody's creating a null values on this call. Okay. Make sense? Okay, good. Then we talked about sources. Then schema, basically, hey, where the table is coming from, what is the the data types and all that stuff. So yeah, now let's look at this one, right? In the project level, right, I'm defining as a view, right? Then project level, I'm defining schema as aggregate. But on the model level, that means .SQL file level, I can overwrite saying that, oh, I want a table. I want everything as a view except this table as table. Again, depends on your use case or vice versa, whichever. Okay. So it's config materialize, then you can define that in the materialization. Okay, we talked about unique and not null test case, accepted values. That means you can add accepted values, right? Saying that, right, all of a sudden, if there is a new accepted value came in without telling to us as a DBT, then it's a failure. It will not accept until unless you come back and DBT change. Okay, there is a new acceptable call. Don't know, for example, right? So you can add those. So you can do a validation and accepted values, and also you can do relationship, which is a differential integrity check. Okay, because the reason we are adding a differential integrity check because the database doesn't enforce it. Now keep in mind, if you have a billion row table and you want to do differential integrity check, your ETL, your DBT process will take time, right? But again, DBT is not an engine. Your Snowflake, you are executing select star from customer find ID in order table. That's right. That select statement behind the scene executed by your Snowflake virtual warehouse. That means you are paying money for. So your DBT is just creating SQLs for you. It is not executing. You are executing in your Snowflake engine. Okay, remember that. So everything costs money there. Okay. Then there is the tools available. So another DBT projects. These DBT projects, what they do is they are giving more and more advanced test cases, right? Yeah, you can add those additional test cases, right? Now there is a DBT expectation. Now they're introduced the DBT constraints modules. So you don't have to write a lot of code. They will write it. For example, you can I have not used this one DBT expectations yet, But I just documented just in case if you guys are remember that one. Null, not nulls. Now you can write your custom select. Right now, if you look at here, right, accept, like look at this, and this is my dim products. Column name is this. Then my test case is accepted value. These are the accepted values. So if somebody in the dim products loaded 1, 2, 4, 5, when you run the test case on these dim products, it will fail. But if you have only 1, 2, 3 B, C, D, then your so DBT test select dim products when you run the test case on it. Then if it is only these values in the table, now if you go back and manually insert a for this category as different value, then you run the test case, it will fail. So create this table, right? Create this test case, then have only these values, run it, then add one more row, add some different product category, then run it, it will fail. Okay. Now you can write your own look at this one. This is a relationship. Okay. So my transaction table, make sure that product ID should exist in my dim products table. Now, if the dim products table load fails, that means your transaction theoretically, right? So today in warehouse, what we do? We load into dim products table or dimension table, then we load into facts table because facts only has a keys. Now, if dim products load failed, then it should not be loading into the fact table. So when you are loading into the fact table, immediately it will fail because, hey, you know, because there is a raw facts, right? There is somewhere in the raw table, your point of sales is in point of sales table, and then you are identifying the product ID for a given product, and then dim products is not there, then your fact table load fail. It will fail immediately. So DBT will not execute. Now, if you remove this, DBT doesn't care, you just load the garbage. So now look at this one, right? Today you write this code in ETL. Now with YAML configuration, you are eliminated your ETL transformation. So today what we do is we have one process writes in the dim products. Then we'll make sure that dim products write is done properly. Then we will go to fact transformation. Then we make all dim products and then conversion of the test, and then we run all this. But here, then while you are ready, of course, there is a transformation anyhow. But while we are writing, it will take care of your constraints. Okay, so remember that. And or you can write your own validations. You can write our select statements like this, then put it in. Then you can do that. I put the DBT expectations. I don't want to get it, but freshness. This is I'm using right now. Right? We are not doing much the DBT expectations, DBT yet, but soon it is in the pipeline. But the freshness we are using. We want to make sure, right, the data is fresh. Let's say I want to run my report, dashboard report. I get an email. Okay, can we run the dashboard now? Right? How do you? I'm not an ETL guy. No, sorry, what I mean is I'm not an ETL team. But I need to tell the front end team, can they run the reports? So what we do is we run the freshness test. Okay. So here, DBT sources freshness. So generally, where you run the freshness, mostly on the sources. So that's the reason. Remember, we define the sources. So all our raw area tables, okay, my raw sales table, my orders table, whoever loading into, right, we run the freshness. Now, can we run my models on yeah, you can create these sources in our Ambari DB stage and your table name, whatever the table name. So basically my point is wherever you have a sources file, your freshness test will be executed. You can run on any table as long as you create a source. So let's say you have a fact table, right? So you load the fact table, then you create another source for fact, and then we add the freshness. So you want to make sure, right? Then your facts are always fresh. So how do you know? How do you define your freshness? Yeah, you have to have some date, right? So here in this case, payment date, or maybe insert date, or updated date, or create date, whatever date you define, that table, it looks for that column. Now go back to 6 hours. So it looks for, okay, hey, past 6 hours, nothing loaded. It's a warning. Past 12 hours, nothing loaded. Then it's a fail. That means ETL failed. Not, it's supposed to be inserted, right? Or whatever the use case is. Is it 3 hour or 2 hour, 1 hour, and whatever warning. So you define your freshness. This is very popular in DBT. We run that one today. Make sure that it indirectly is telling me my ETL completed, or directly, right? Okay. Now incremental. We talked about incremental models, right? So for example, we Kafka writes into here, but we don't need the data available immediately in my fact visits table. So we run every 24 hours, right? Then we build a page. Then we will run the DBT using incremental model. So that means this table keep on adding it, right? We have a 30-day transient, right? Then on time travel. So doesn't matter the time travel, but this table is keep on growing it. But when we run this one, we want to make sure it's always adds into incremental. Okay, let's go through incremental, right? So my Kafka is writing this one. Then so just an example, walk through that. So look at this one here, right? So select my my event table, right? Who is visited that page? Okay, I visited page, I visited page, I visited page, I visited page 10 times today. And so now when I was working at iCrossing, or not double bricks, yeah, I will come back that name. DoubleClick company. We always, you go to the page, it is a visit, right? How many times you visited that page? Now another thing is how many people visited that page, right? You visited 10 times, that's one user 10 times, but how many unique users have visited that page? Those things, because that is where the page history, then that's how they look for the then after that you visit it, and then it's called impression. Then after that you click it, then you buy it, and then Facebook makes money, or Google makes money, right? So you visit it, they make money. You click it, they make money. You buy it, they make money, right? So you see it, they make money. That's why they always want to stuck with the social media, right? The minute you open a Facebook, they make money, right? The minute you click on an ad, they make money. Then you buy something, they make money. So that's the company I worked for previously. So it's amazing when you see that, right? Then you open Facebook in middle of the night, you will see one certain advertisement. You open the Facebook in the morning, you will see certain advertisement. You open the Facebook in middle of the 2 a.m., you will see mostly credit card or bankruptcy kind of things, right? If you open in the morning, then maybe vacation. So depends on your demographic, all the stuff. Then the minute you open Facebook, ching ching. Okay, so don't open it. Sorry, just joking. Then how do you build? So you want to, okay, look at this one. For a given day, total activity user. That means then okay, until when you loaded, until yesterday, some of the maximum data on this table. Then it reads and then updates this table. So behind the scene, it updates the fact table. Let's say I visited today 10 times, then it will updates my in the fact table, Satya visited 10 times. Now, tomorrow, some reason, right, my Kafka is sending, Kafka missed my one visit. It sends again. But actually, I visited 10, 11 times, but Kafka sent only 10 times. Kafka send again one more visit. This will take care of it. Then it will update. The date is yesterday, right, which is December 2nd. Satya visited 11 times. So this code will take care of it. You don't have, all you have to do is write a select statement, then first time it will load. Then every time when you load into your the event table, where is my event table here? Look at this one, right? This is my event table, right? So this user 111222 is right. Next day again the user, right? Look at this one 444. That means on 24 this user has 3 visits, and 23 this user has 1 2 3 4 5 visits, and like this. The total. Now if I insert one more, right, with number 1 of this date, rerun my increment this fact model. So right, so basically here you look at like dbt run dash dash select fact visit. Where do I want to run? My target dev for now, right? Or my target prod. Then automatically whatever the new row added in the event table, right? And then checks within my fact table, updates it. Now my event table can be keep on. This is a transient table. That means it has data only one day. Anything older than one day, the data is gone. That is fine. But any new data coming in, then my fact table will be automatically updated. Now look at this code, right? We used to write a big stored procedure for that. So I used to write a lot of stored procedures in Oracle in 2000, right? In Exadata, we introduced Exadata in 2004, 2009. I used to write a lot of PLSQL stored procedure. Yeah, you have read gigantic, but now you just configure, and now you're configuring your just select statement. That's it. You're not writing a stored procedure. It will take care behind the thing. Okay, so that's incremental. So these are how you build the fact table. Now you just execute it. Now, if you want to, sometimes, hey, we, very rarely you do that full refresh, but just in case if they want to do, your event table has everything, then you do a full refresh. Generally, we don't do that. But again, these features are available. Okay. Okay, we talked about views, models. Okay, so we talked about snapshot, right? I'm going to reiterate one more time snapshot, right? So snapshot is basically your product name change, or you change the apartment, then you are working for TransUnion or Equifax, or any credit companies. They want to keep track of your addresses, right? Or Homeland Security. So today what we do is we run the type 2 table conversion. It's a big code by itself, right? Where is my type 2 here? I'm going to explain this one quickly, then here, right? I want to create then I have to write this select statement, and then do my source table, my target table, then go back to my target table has find out most recent previous row, right? I might have moved apartments 5 times, but I don't care about the previous moves, but most recent. Then insert new row, then update the previous row, then all the things you have to do it, and at the same time you have to run your freshness, your test case, your null, not null. All this can be done simply one line. If you have a 10-15 snapshots, and so that's it. You set up your configuration, right? So now let's go to very quickly how you do the setup configuration. One line, dbt snapshot custom dim customer dbt snapshot, right? So all we do is, okay, you have your staging raw table, which is fine. Then Okay, so we do have a snapshot here. Yes. Okay, so here my dim customer, right? I want to create my dim customer as a type 2 table based on my staging table. Then okay, where do I want to create my dim customer dim schema? Which database? Of course, you don't have to define. Then it goes to the default schema. Then using ID. Okay. Then what date? That's it. You configure, your type 2 table is created. So almost 20 lines code with the YAML configuration or SQL configuration, you're creating a type 2. Okay. So let's go back here. You configure. Now you just run it, dbt snapshot. It automatically creates a type 2. Or you update, run the snapshot. It will. So now look at this one here, right? This user, right? The Satya, and in this address and all this thing, but his name changed to KSN. Now look at this one, okay? So now this row, number 2 row, will have end date, which is same as start date. Then it has no end date. So that means this is my current row. That's how the type 2 works. This is unbelievable, right? I used to write everything in the Spark and massive code, and then almost 15 tables, type 2s. Now, one line configuration, type 2s. Okay, we talked about lineage, and yeah, green, blue, not, yeah. Slack, you can integrate with Slack and tell if you have a Slack account. Yeah, this is where I want to show quickly. Okay. Now, okay, let's close all these guys. Close all these guys. This is, I want to emphasize, make sure that okay, I've been talking about facts. Now, where are my facts? In this is my Ambari test, right? And then I created my staging tables. I created my marts, right? Like my dim parts and dim suppliers, then whatever pivots and everything. But where are my facts? And so this is now this Ambari test, or maybe Ambari project 1, is a common project for my company, right? So I do transformations of my staging, right? And I do the marts, dim customer, dim parts, and other things. So every team, I have multi-facts, fact visits, fact, the number of visits or number of users, or maybe multi-facts, right? Then there are facts for transactions. So I might have multi-star schemas, right? But the star schemas will built by different team in our company, right? So, but all common objects, my staging tables, my dimensions, or my whatever, my documentation, right? Everything has to be in one place. Then there is another team, right? They want to build the fact tables. So what they're going to do is they will create a new DBT project. So let's do that. Okay. So I created a new project called facts, right? It's exactly follows same thing, right? Okay. Same. Now, then I create another profile called facts, but I can use same profile, which is my Ambari underscore snowflake, right? Doesn't have to be another. Just for fun, I created another profile. Okay, let's go back to the profile. Now look at this one, Ambari facts, right? Which is nothing but exactly same database, right? Same thing. I don't have to do that, by the way, just for showing. But again, I can. So fact project also uses Ambari SF. Okay, I'm going to use Ambari SF too. right? It's going to be new project. Now look at this project only have a facts, right? Now look at here my models, right? I don't have seeds, I don't have snapshot, I don't have anything other than only models. Two models. One is number of users, right? Number of visits, number of per users. Right? Exactly what I showed the incremental model and all that stuff because facts are incremental, right? And now, you know, where is my sources? Then I'm added the freshness and foreign keys and all that stuff. Now, where is my dim customer coming for this fact project? Look at this one. Reference dim customer, right? I have not defined the dim customer in my staging. I have not defined dim customer, right? But now let's go back to my packages. In packages, right? Basically, packages are meant for to download or reuse. No, I don't want to use download. Reuse somebody built projects. Before we go, let's go to one more. Go back to our Ambari test. Okay. Packages. Okay, so look at this one, right? This is a, let's say I want to build a constraints. Now most recently they introduced, now you can Snowflake, you can add constraints. So I can use dbt project. So somebody who has a lot of time and no sleeping, they build this project, we are using it. Or dbt expectations, dbt util, there are hundreds of projects available. Where can I find it? So dbt hub. Okay, we go there. So you will see the projects, the dbt projects. So you can do code gen, you can do we are using dbt a little bit. Then look at Snowflake. Let's say if your manager asks you, okay, we want to find Snowflake spend, right? Where is that one? Snowflake spend. Then look at the Snowflake monitoring. This, if you go this one, Snowflake monitoring, then they will have a sequels how to run how much money you are spending on each sequel. Now look at the Snowflake spend. Then everybody, so these are approved by DBT. Like there are maybe unapproved one, right? And then you want to do masking on Snowflake. I have not used any of these, but again, start exploring. You go there, then they will give you examples how to use. All you have to do is copy this line, right? And go back to your, there is a file called packages.ml. You just paste it. Then you need to download. How to download a package, right? So you go here, dbt deps. That means dependencies. So you don't want to type the whole dependencies. dbt deps, what it does is whatever, okay, sorry, I mean not in project. Okay, so what it does is it's going to download all the packages from the internet. While it is downloading, then it also tells me, okay, hey, look at we have a latest version. We have again, depends on which versions you want to use. That's a different sort. So that is like a dependencies, like in Python dependencies, Java dependencies, right? Similarly, now these are already pre-approved projects by DBT, but in our case, right, in our fact project, right, look at this one, Ambari test. This is already approved by your company, right? Your company, your teammates already approved this project. They already built it, they already deployed, they already tested. Right? Now we going to use that one. Then my fact tables, right? Then if you look at our project, we are telling, okay, facts are built on. Then right now I'm using facts or views, but even with tables, but that's it, end of the story. But if you look at our actual code, right? Okay, we are saying Ambari source events, and then yeah, where are those coming from? They are inherited from the project, sorry, packages. So this guy is giving. Right now, from the facts project, I can execute my staging tables. I can execute tests on my, so I can do anything, whatever I can do independently. And so it's basically Ambari test and facts together is one project. So this is now what is this helping you multi-user development, right? One team is doing base models, another team doing facts, another doing document. You can inherit all those things and you can refer. So let's go to the documentation here. Okay, so here I inherited my embodied done. Okay, so right now I'm using local because I don't have Git set up in my local, but in your company, right? Now, when the Ambari test is completed, nobody keep on their laptop, right? They're going to put it in your Git. So you're gonna do HTTP URL, whatever URL token and everything. You added that one. So it's like a wheel file. It's like a Python pip file. Then as soon as you done, then you run the dips, right? Now let's go to my facts. Okay, let's go to facts. Okay, then I'm going to run the dips again. Now look at this one. Okay, it is downloaded. So here is not downloaded Ambari test. Now this project downloaded this project again, this directory, this facts project downloaded, the Ambari test locally. But if it is in your Git, it downloads. That means now Ambari test is part of facts project. This is if you are able to articulate, right? Hey, we have a decentralized approach, right? And then if you're able to articulate, okay, we are multi-team, one team is doing this, we are doing facts, and then we are using, for initially, we're going to test locally. Then after that, we're going to put in a Git, or maybe we already start putting the Git, and then people understand, okay, hey, you're talking, the DBT. Okay. So decentralized approach. Okay. Let's go to, so I put it here. Let's go to the decentralizer. Okay. So your seeds is a one project, right? Your staging model, one project. You can build your common macros, one project, right? Then your marts, one project, right? Your snapshot can be one project. Your pivots can be one project. Okay. So go and read about this blog. Again, they're talking a little bit differently, but this is kind of what I have proposed in the client, right? Now within the staging, look at this one. We're going to do staging. We're going to document. We're going to do data types conversion, standard column names, schemas, and whole separate different type of staging on the stuff. Seeds, if they have a seeds, if there is no seeds to load, then again macros. You can combine staging, seeds, macros in one project. This is maybe overkilling if your project is very small. Again, depends on the size of the project too, by the way. Right? Then marts and snapshots maybe one project, pivots together, but facts another project, right? Then this is right Ambari test. We talked about Ambari facts. Then he's importing Ambari project, right? And then look at this one, right? So in the facts project directory, I can run my package, the entire Ambari test. That means before I build my facts, I want my Ambari test fully loaded. That means my staging done, my DIMS done, then come to the facts. Now, if I run this facts, then it will behind the scene, it will run this also again. Then you can do, there are many strategies. But the point here is the facts is the embodied test is a parent of facts or child, whether you call parent or child, whichever. So it's multi-user development. Now you are assuming that whatever garbage they built, that's not your problem. Because what I mean is that is their responsibility for testing. Then validation, everything that is their responsibility. But your case is, okay, they took care of my DIMS and everything, and they run their own quality test, everything, then you're going to reuse. So then it's a separation. Then this team is running on their own time frame you are running your own, then you are using it. Yeah. Okay. Very quick, right? Use SQL Fluff for nice formatting. Nothing to do with the DBT, but you can simply SQL Fluff. Lint. You can use lint or fix. Let me run that one for you quickly. Value fluff lint. LINT lint models. Okay. What it does is it goes to the model directory and then then runs the lint, right? Yeah, so it's saying that fact visits users fail, select wildcard, and again there is a dictionary on that, or you can fix that. That means automatically formats and does things. Is a nice tool. So if you have a SQL file, SQL Fluff lint or fix, give you a SQL file. It does a nice formatting. So uppercase, lowercase, and all that stuff. Then for constraints, DBT constraints, use it. Now this metadata testing, elementary is kind of observability. Again, practice that on. Yeah, this okay. So I want to discuss what we are planning on one project. We have a Hive database in on-prem, right? And then we want to reverse engineer the Hive database into DBT. So it take all, let's say, whatever the tables database is, we want to convert into DBT tables and models, right? And then we have a Hive tables are in Parquet format, right? And we copy those Parquet files into Amazon S3, right? And then the DBT will create a schema and tables in Dremio, or okay, for now Dremio. Then we have a EMR Spark cluster running, then convert these Parquet files into Iceberg table. That's what we are working on, just for FYI. Who are in the Hadoop, I know if you are working on Hadoop projects, right? Okay, so where I am. Okay, you can think of that it helps your conversions, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's about it. Done for the day. Okay, so I covered almost DBT. Open. Ignore the open linear. Practice it. Definitely 2023, right? DBT is big requirements. A lot of maybe 2023 is right. Performance, Snowflake performance, Databricks performance, optimizing your deployments, optimizing your ETLs, reduce your ETL cluster. DBT is going to be a big player in 2023. Even 2023, right? Either Snowflake or Databricks, everybody talking about cost, right? Cost, right? I mean, talking about compute cost and other things. So think about it. But I see there's a lot of value in the DBT, and the DBT guys are adding more and more features. Who knows, DBT adds the extract. Okay, if they buy another Airbyte or some other company, and if they add extract feature, and DBT is going to be full-fledged tool. They are adding metrics on it. That means you can build cubes. Then once you build a cube, any dashboard like Cognos or Tableau or anything can connect, and then you can build. So now you don't have to, Cognos or Tableau can build the cubes. Now DBT can build the cubes. I have not covered the metrics yet. So definitely practice DBT. Easy because it's just SQL, right? Questions? Okay, so DBT is done. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, Satya, like how were these sessions? I mean, this is my first time that I have encountered your post on the Snowflake developers group, and I signed up. So I mean, like, do you just share your things like sometimes? I mean, I don't know, like if this is some group that was already working on.
No, yeah, I put it. I basically I post it in Snowflake, right? And sorry, not Snowflake. Snowflake group and LinkedIn group.
Mhm.
Then people say, can you add me in the list, and then add in the email list, and then I have a almost 2,000 email list. I send it to everyone. Hey, this is a session I'm starting. Then between 8 and 12, sorry, 8 and 10, or whatever the date, then folks join. That's about it. So it's like, yeah, whoever interested, they send an email based on link when they see in the LinkedIn, or and then I add in my email list group. If I look at here, there are many email list groups. Okay, I didn't open that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
uh,
this has been really good for, I mean, like I didn't know much about DBT, so it gave me good idea, and yeah, this is really helpful for me to
sure. Yeah, if you
explore
go to
more.
the invite, there is all the URLs,
Yeah,
whatever
it's not. Mhm.
records are there. Then just spend. I'm sure there are boring, but uh,
No, they're really good. Yeah.
so then yeah, contact me any questions anytime. I love to teach, I love to talk, of course. But yeah, then I will planning on doing more sessions. Then the next is I want to do iceberg again, but in a different way. Iceberg in as a branch. Iceberg now the data as code concept. What does that mean? You load ETL, right? And after 5 hours, everybody is waiting. Okay, ETL is getting loaded, ETL getting loaded. Then after 5 hours, you may be giving you bad news. Okay, oops, ETL failed, right? And it's Monday morning, 7 o'clock, and then they want to run the reports. But at least they say, okay, mm, sorry, at least give back my um, old data. Clean it up and give the word. Then what you do, right? We all go around and then talk to DBAs or someone, and then we have to restore back whatever before the snapshot of ETL run, right? Then versus now we're gonna say I'm going to branch off my existing production table, right? Now anybody can run the reports, whatever they want to run, they keep continuing on the old data. But I'm going to load ETL on the new branch of the customer table. And then I load another billion rows in my customer table. Then I validate it. Once the validation tested, everything is good, then I'm going to merge my customer table. Now, as soon as I merge, it's one single flag switch, then everybody can see the latest data. Now, if the ETL is failed, right, I'm going to drop my branch. Then life is same as before ETL run. So that is new trend now on web. Write, audit, publish. And that is one kind of use case. And the next use case you will see next year is everyone want to convert on-prem Hive tables to Iceberg tables, right? So why everybody want to convert on-prem to Iceberg table? The future is moving towards like this. Everybody today, right? Dreamio, Cloudera, Databricks, Snowflake, everyone can run Iceberg table. Iceberg table is nothing but Hive plus 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 plus. It's just an Hive table in a different format. But now everybody is supporting. That means, and there are 10x performance improvement. But the requirement is, I'm in cloud. Sorry, I'm in Cloudera. I'm using Hive table. I'm in EMR. I'm using Hive table. Right. I'm in Databricks. I use Delta table, but I want to get away from Databricks to Snowflake, or I want to get away from Databricks to Cloudera, or whatever. Right. But if I convert into Iceberg table, everybody can use it. So this is going to be universal data format. That's what I see. But some people disagree. But that's what I see the trend. Now, how do you do that, right? I'm in Cloudera. Now I have a Hive table. Cloudera support Iceberg. How do you convert Iceberg tables? Right? I'm in Databricks. I want my cost is so high. I want to convert my Delta to Iceberg and move it to Cloudera or Snowflake or Dreamio. So this is and my yesterday presentation, one of the telecom company yesterday, the discussion about the convert, and then Cloudera and HDFS. HDFS is moving away to object storage. How the Cloudera is going to do that, right? And I want to show those kind of demos soon. It's more hands-on, practical way of doing things. Then because this is coming, this is next year, 2023. You will be seeing. Of course, there's going to be a dogfight. These guys are fighting like anything, which is good, right? Cheaper is better. But definitely, if you learn Iceberg, you can work on any of these projects. Doesn't matter, right? I know Iceberg, I know Spark. Then I can do work any of these products. Do you know Databricks? Yes, Databricks, because you know Iceberg. That's how I want to those kind of projects soon, our demos. Then yeah, we'll work on that. So this year, I don't think I can. Maybe I will do one more demo before maybe next Saturday. But after that, holidays, right? So we will continue these workshops. I was planning on doing 1 hour or 2 hour workshop every Saturday, something. But definitely keep learning. The concept actually not keep learning, keep unlearn, right? Which is good. Questions? If not, then
Yeah, and one last question, like what does your Ambari Cloud do actually? So I
we are
just
consulting. We are consulting company.
consulting. Okay.
Yeah, all big data. So since 2009 and 10, I worked for Google. Before that, I was a data architect / many things. Then now I'm a developer, right? So I will call myself as developer, but I do a lot of architecture on the big data domain. I work with a lot of senior folks. We do heavy streaming projects and Kafka, Confluent Kafka, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so teaching always contact people, teaching, and then understanding their use cases, architecture. It's like a two-way. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, guys. Enjoy. Then we'll keep.
Yeah, sorry, last thing. I mean, see, actually, I'm a normal Java developer. How I want to shift my platform. How can I do? I'm more interested towards data analytics. This part. How can I shift my career? Is there any? Can you provide some guidelines in that area as well?
Yeah, I will send an email. The steps. Okay. Start with SQL, of course. Right. Then
SQL, I'm good. I'm good in Oracle and
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I will send how to but definitely cloud requirement is common nowadays. Some call cloud. You don't have to be every cloud. But yeah, I will send some slide and we'll what are how things. Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you, guys. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Satya.
Thank you, Satya, for valuable sessions.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. Thanks. Bye.